audience today? I think a couple. Well, The Legend of Vox Machina is adventuring through its 4th season, and the action's getting as fantastical as ever. Today we're going to hear a little more about how the magic is made. Please join me in welcoming one of the Legend of Vox Machina's executive producers, Jin Ahn, and art director, Arthur Loftis. Huh, that face looks familiar. Huh, interesting. Well, 2026 has been called the year, I'm not supposed to say this, the year of effing S up for The Legend of Vox Machina. How do you go about turning all that anarchic energy into a satisfying and cohesive season of TV?
Whoa, big question.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it goes a long way that Sanjay and I have been working together for a very long time. We've actually been roommates.
7 years.
Yeah, so
That
we have a
helps.
very good working relationship, and I think that probably helped us get through it.
Yeah, we've even almost shared a toothbrush.
It wasn't intentional.
Yeah,
No
but
judgment.
to answer the question, I think you kind of have to embrace the chaos. This is my first time doing like a big fantasy style show, and also my first exposure to like role playing and D&D and stuff. And yeah, there's a lot. I thought one dragon's cool, but I was like, what?
But what if there was more?
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about a character. The Legend of Vox Machina has already got a huge cast, but you're adding another character, Taryon Darington. What can you tell us about him?
Being a fan of the original campaign and watching that all the way through, I was very excited to finally see Taryon on screen, as I'm sure a lot of fans are. Our lead character designer, Phil Barassa, is amazing and really likes to grab all of these assignments that we give him and just go nuts with it. So he probably did a million variations trying to figure out just how pompous Taryon needed to look to really sell him on screen, like 10% Geraldo and who knows whatever else he put in there. And also, we had to redesign the character a bit because there was going to be a new voice cast. It was originally played by Sam in the original campaign. And obviously, Wayne Brady took over the role from there. So we had to kind of take what already existed in the original designs that were made for the campaign and kind of turn it into something new for the TV series, which Phil absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. So I was not familiar with the campaign at all.
What?
And when I first started, I was like, "Hey, Sam and Travis, is it okay if I don't know the campaign?" They're like, "Absolutely." They're like, they just fully embraced it. But I was like, "Who's Taryon? Why? And don't we already have enough main characters?" But luckily, there was a Scanlan arc and stuff, and I was a little reserved with him at first because in animation, we all know animation is, it's a craft of love, but it's also challenging. It's the art of limitation, and I'm like, we're in a brand new character in armor all the time, and he has a robot. Like, what? But I would say as the season progresses, and as hopefully everyone else sees as the season releases, he definitely grew on me.
I'm looking at this image. Is he annoyed that he's slightly shorter than Percy?
I think everyone's
I'm
annoyed they're slightly shorter than Percy.
Well, I mean, I don't want to leave anyone out. He does have a trusty sidekick, and that is Doty. What went into designing him?
There's probably nothing harder to animate than robots, so we really had to figure out how to make Doty work. The thing I love about Doty's design, and Phil designed Doty as well, is that he managed to make them feel like this perfect pair. They sort of are dressed in a similar way, and you can tell that basically the only thing that would be good enough to follow Tary around is a copy of himself, someone
Another
dressed
Tary?
exactly like him. Yeah. And yeah, he really had a blast with it. And luckily, Doty is taller than Percy, so it kind of evened out there.
Yeah. And bless Critical Role, because when we're ramping up to plan the season and introducing Doty and Tary, they made sure to promise us that he only stands there, he only reads, and he won't ever like do as much craziness. And I was like, sure, cool. Still skeptical, but yeah.
Correct attitude. Well, Batman has the Batmobile, but Taryon has the Tary van, or Taravan, if you will. What aspects of Taryon's personality were most important to get across in this vehicle?
Yo, can I just say, we designed the shit out of that.
We spent way too much money on this thing.
I think it all started where in the script, they're like, Taryn has a fancy, I think they wrote it to spite me. They're like, he has a fancy horse-drawn carriage. And we have a little rapport with this show of like, I'm very allergic to animated horses. We try to avoid it at all costs because of costs. So we decided to take a spin on their words and to do our own play on a horse-drawn carriage in a Taryon way, right?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, Tary fills a very niche role in the show of being kind of and I've been trying to find the nicest way to put it, but he's a rich jackass. So something that kind of communicates how big his personality is, and this thing is painted with so much gold. The horses are ridiculous. They're kind of like carousel horses.
I like that you pointed out a gem disco ball.
Yeah.
Serves no purpose.
No.
That's the beauty of it. There's no purpose to any of this.
Presumably someone has to animate that little disco ball going back
Every
and forth.
time?
Yeah.
Classic Tary. Well, I mean, Tary's got a real retinue now because his father, Howard, is in the mix.
I still trip on that.
How does he fit into the story?
We haven't met Howard yet, but he is a really big part of who Tary is. And we wanted to showcase kind of like he's a big guy. He's sort of like, in one way or another, he's kind of helped Tary become I guess the jerk that he has become.
So it's his fault.
Yes, exactly. We should place all the blame on him. We went through a million iterations, and honestly, I think what I love about this character is that Phil just kind of let loose with it, and there's almost like One Piece levels of crazy proportions with this character, and that really helps sell his just huge personality.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that we're getting a little sneak on Taryon's dad, and everyone will be able to see him in person soon. We definitely went really, strong with the design up front, and then once we start to see the story like locked in, we're like, oh wow, his personality definitely goes a little bit more on the stricter, colder side, but we still wanted to like show that he has like this eccentric, kind of flamboyant personality through his design and clothes and how that influenced Taryon. So a lot of like subcontext that we hope went through that came out from the design, and that the audience will pick up on.
I'm feeling it. I mean, as soon as you said One Piece, I thought, oh yeah, he could be one of them. Well, we've actually got a sneak peek of season 4, a moment featuring Howard. What can you tell us about it?
Oh yeah, this will be like a nice sneak peek into like the behind the process of how animation is made and like, kind of like an early version of it, and also for like the keen-eyed critters and stuff, they might see a huge Easter egg for Grog.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we look at that clip and find that Easter egg?
Cool.
Feast your eyes on these.
Cards? Yawn. Oh, this is no ordinary deck. This is a
Deck of infinite possibilities. It's a legendary enchanted deck. Some cards create fantastic boons, other deadly banes. Drawing a card is the ultimate game of roulette, dangerous enough to damn your soul or save it. I didn't know it was real.
Oh, it's real, all right. A poker buddy of mine drew one card on a dare, and poof! Never seen or heard from again. First person to quit drawing loses. What do you say?
All right, well, this is clearly not the final product. But let's talk about what's happening here a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, first, it's cool for me and hopefully for everyone else is to see, like, this is the first step from, like, the words on the script. This will be the next step where we storyboard it and kind of blueprint and plan out how the episode will be told and kind of set the tone of the story. So it's great to see, like, shout out to Grace Me, this is her storyboard section. So it's great to see, like, that translation of word from script to a first semblance of visual picture. And yeah, the deck of infinite possibilities is a big like canon lore for Grog through the Critical Role campaign. So it was great to kind of tie that in the episode for this moment.
Do you look for moments where you can put in a little extra something?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not the only like kind of OG fan of the campaign on the crew, and all of us are really excited to look for these little moments of like inserting little nods. A lot of them are actually just hidden in the background. So for the people who've kind of like sat through everything and have experienced it, or even seen like Mighty Nine, our sister show, there are a lot of like little things that you can catch that actually make it kind of a deeper watching experience.
Yeah, you're going for that rewatch, aren't you?
Yeah, the repeat watch. You'll catch something new every time.
And
That's good
credit
to
to
know.
Arthur and the design team because, again, I wasn't too familiar with the original campaign. I am now. But yeah, all the Easter eggs, they were really having fun with all that stuff.
Excellent. Well, I want to talk about someone or someones else we're going to see this season. Let's talk about the cult villains. What can you tease about some of the villains Vox Machina is going to face this year?
Yeah, we've got a new host of baddies. Phil, again, went nuts designing all these cool variations on kind of like, I guess you would call them like new lieutenants leading like these kind of hooded cultists around, and they're clearly after something that will slowly show itself to us more and more. I think episode 3, we kind of get our first really nice glimpse of the beginnings of the threads that will weave itself into the rest of the season.
Yeah, this is actually a great example where it was really cool and exciting to work on this like new angle for the challenge for Vox Machina, but thinking about the long game, we had to actually pull back and make their design more kind of low-key and kind of, because we did have to make sure for the overall arc, it has a gradual reveal and gradual build-up. So, like, for example, in these lineups, really, really cool designs, but we ended up having to, like, really streamline it down and simplify. I mean, this guy, he's just cool out the gate, but but as we're figuring out the language of the cult in general, we wanted to make sure that it had a nice balance of like, imposing and threatening, but also nothing that like felt like a final boss kind of level of threat.
Yeah, they're like mini bosses. Each one has a totally different, unique flavor. This guy had all kinds of crazy abilities that I think got thrown out when we realized like, you want him to have sort of like a condor strapped to his back, but he also flies around on another thing. Like, isn't that just wearing a jetpack while you're flying a plane?
In a fantasy way, yeah.
Yeah. It's been a blast, kind of like seeing just Phil throw all these awesome ideas at us, and really it feels like you're just looking at a menu of awesome things to choose from, and that's ultimately what's so fun about working together.
Honestly, for me though, I was like, thank God they're not dragons. I'm like, as long as they're not dragons, we're cool. Everyone.
Come on. Well, what is a cult without some scary monsters, right? Tell me about the Gloomstalkers.
Ooh, I guess we did have one new CG thing.
It's not a dragon, but it's not.
Yeah, it's like a baby dragon. Well, it's a little bit simpler. At least it doesn't have as many limbs and it doesn't have to talk, which is actually really nice. And obviously, this kind of goes together with the Beastalker. They're kind of buddies. So we saw that in episode 3.
Yeah, we have a few iterations of this creature, but I think the cool thing is this is one of the creatures we have to like design from the ground up. Like we have to completely reinterpret it and just kind of figure out what kind of like feeling or shapes that we want to evoke. These are some earlier ones. We went more wyvern-like or more dragon-like, but we ended up more kind of like almost alien-like because it's supposed to be from a different realm, the Shadow Realm and such. So definitely took inspirations from, SeaWorld. Like,
SeaWorld? I was going to say Alien, but...
Yeah.
Everyone has,
A lot of figuring out where the tentacles are going to come from. I think that was one of the hardest parts of this one.
That's called creativity, gentlemen.
Yes, that's why we get the big bugs.
Well, you are using 3D animation for the Gloomstalkers. What made you make that choice?
Honestly, big creatures like this are really hard to do completely in 2D, but we have a perfect example of here moments where it actually has to be 2D. That big juicy head sitting on the desk
Oh, gosh.
is just a totally unique design by Nick Lombardo there. We really relish these moments. I think it really shines to see when 2D animation comes through and looks this adorable.
That's a subjective feeling. Yeah, you included the calipers and everything. My goodness.
Yeah.
The details. Well, let's move on to another friendly face, let's say. Maybe not so friendly. The Kraken. The Kraken has been a long time coming. How did you aim to live up to all the expectation from Vox Machina fans with the design? And, you know, there are Krakens in fiction. How is your Kraken different? What's Kraken?
I think we really did, again, throw every idea at the table to see what would stick and resonate with Sam and Travis. Arthur Tang, another one of our designers, came up with these awesome pieces that you're seeing here. He was throwing crazy stuff out there, like what if there's architecture, like from an ancient dead civilization still embedded into the Kraken's body, like just wild stuff like that that probably was not going to read in the short amount of time that we get to spend with the Kraken. But, and these ideas of like bioluminescent kind of jellyfish lights that are going to appear along its body. Like he gave us so many fun things to play with, and even keeping only a fraction of them, I feel like the Kraken was one of the most complicated, crazy things we've ever built. Probably more insane than the dragons in some ways.
Yeah, I remember being in the writer's room and we were figuring out this episode, and Travis was trying to help envision what the Kraken would be. And, you know, this is my first time dealing with the Kraken in an animated sense, so I was like, oh yeah, so it's like Kraken's like this big, right? And he kept like, no, bigger. I was like, this big, like, no, bigger.
Bigger.
I was like, okay, so it was a really like strategic collaboration with planning in the writer's room, and then the storyboard artists, and then the designers, because we knew to sell the scale, like the Kraken was too big for CG actually, so.
That's why you chose to not make the Kraken CG.
Yeah,
This is traditional.
Otherwise we would only have the first 3 episodes and that's it. All the budget was gone. So yeah, it was a strategic move because we often say that animation is the art of limitation, and we would try to embrace that philosophy with our choices.
All right. Well, I want to talk about epic fights, if we can. I said that in the most dry way. With both the Legend of Vox Machina and the Mighty Nine going at the same time, what's it been like trying to keep up and to keep the design language consistent between both shows?
We have gotten to work with Mighty Nine. One of the designers from Vox Machina ended up becoming the art director on Mighty Nine, so we have a very tight kind of relationship going back and forth, talking about what are you guys doing, and whenever we have overlap, like with stuff like this, the Cobalt Soul, that's one of the main kind of elements in the Mighty Nine. So actually, we're borrowing from them sometimes, looking at their background designs and looking at how they're structuring things, and then getting to put those little things back into Vox. So it's been a very cool thing, kind of seeing it all grow organically together, which I would say doesn't just tie the 2 shows together. It actually happens from time to time with the actual campaign as well. So it's been a really cool process, just having all these creative minds just talking back and forth in that way.
Very nice. Well, the Cobalt Soul's Vault is coming into play. And you've given us a look here at what the Guardians look like. Seems like they're ready for anything.
Yeah, so again, like this is a cool like little preview into what might be releasing soon. But yeah, when we were building this episode, we knew that there's this really special, magnificent vault, and it needed like its own unique, fantastical security system. And there's earlier version of the scripts where they said it was like multiple small little like golems, but we decided to push for a singular big threat that had like a big read, big impression, and we want to embrace like the blend of, it's still made of like archaic stone and magic, but had like kind of a high-tech security persona to it. So yeah, these are all explorations and sketches trying to push that direction.
Yeah, I think forever the request will be, let's do something we haven't done before, and we really tried to throw a lot of cool stuff. Again, this is Arthur Tang coming up with like really interesting concept designs that eventually turned into a gigantic, expensive 3D thing that we had to build, and we couldn't be prouder of it.
They're enormous. Look at that size, Ref.
She's scary.
Well, what about the vault itself? What kinds of dangers will it be throwing at our heroes?
The vault was a really interesting thing to figure out. That there's obviously a ton of action having in here, and making sure that it felt like an enormous space. I think one of the hardest things to do with the show is always, how do we up the stakes a little bit more, make everything feel a little bit bigger and a little bit scarier every time. So I think, Sunjin, you asked me for something like a Death Star shaft size thing that we could like have this massive action
Death Star
set.
shaft. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not going to explore that further.
Yeah. And I'm super grateful to Arthur and his team, like, because being able to have this visual before we start storyboarding and really get into the visual planning of it helps really like solidify our choreography, our placement, and inspires us of what else can we, what are the moments we can add to push and give characters like their specific moments.
Well, you brought us an exclusive clip to show everyone. But what's even more is we're going to see what it looks like in its original animatic form first, and then you can see how far it's come, what little details we put in.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. And you guys will see a sneak preview, right, of what the finished clip will look like.
But let's see the animatic first.
It's just Grog getting his ass kicked.
He really is.
I hope he's
He
all right.
looks so small. Well, shall we see the final version?
Hell yeah, let's do
Just
it.
like that.
Let's go. It already looks good.
Boom.
Oh,
Okay, that's it.
it hurts even more seeing it in its final form.
Yeah.
Great job. I mean, the difference between the animatic and the final, it's huge.
I know, and like even though we were able to just snap our fingers and show the final, that's of course months and months of work from so many talented artists and collaboration, So we hope that you guys enjoy and catch it when it airs really soon.
A lot of work and a lot of love have gone into this clearly. Sungjin, Arthur, thank you so much for joining us today. The Legend of Vox Machina Season 4 is streaming right now on Amazon Prime Video. There's more IGN Live to come, so don't go anywhere.
Thank you.
Thank you all.